Andrew, something Aaron mentioned a couple of days ago about I know you haven't been in the team long, but Australia's recent record in one-day cricket in South Africa is great. It's sort of been addressed as a group, and you sort of try to identify the reasons why they've got a bit of a hole in you in the 50-over game.
I think each group's different every time you travel. I mean, I wasn't around for the last time that Australia travelled to South Africa, so unaware of what the team was. But the team's ever evolving, so I'm not sure that has too much bearing on the results with the current series. I think, put it simply, in par, we weren't at our best, and South Africa played some really good cricket. And full credit to Klassen and Miller on a slowing surface to get, I think it was 291 in the end. It's always going to be difficult to chase. So I think that's really just staying in the present around results, and what's happened previously to us is slightly irrelevant.
Do you have a team locked in for tomorrow?
No, I actually missed the team bus to training, so they'll probably announce one. So I've rushed here, had a quick feed, but no, look, it'd be difficult to see any changes if there was going to be any. I haven't looked at the surface yet, but I don't think I've any knee-jerk reactions to what happened in Par.
Would you envisage John Richardson getting a game before this tour is finished, or you're not really looking to rest and rotate?
I think we'll look to play what we see as our best team. So, I mean, resting and rotating, or what the best team is for the conditions. He's been added to the squad at late notice for a reason. So there potentially is an opportunity for him to play. There's also Kane Richardson, who's played some fantastic white ball cricket in the last few months. He's sitting on the bench at the moment as well, if the team remains unchanged. So Jai's probably too deep there. So there'd have to be a couple of changes potentially for him to get a look at it.
Just with the top turnaround when you get back to Sydney, you play. I think you might arrive in Sydney on Monday and then play on Friday. Is there anything that you will look to do to try and help the players get through that? I mean, it's quite a long way to travel, and is it a matter of sort of changing the squad around, or do you think they'll get enough rest?
I think it depends how they travel, really. I mean, going against the timeline that way, it's always difficult travelling back, or most players find it a lot more difficult going back that way. So it'll be really just get there, assess. As you said, Monday night fly in. Tuesday will be probably let them sleep and rest, and try to get into the time zone. Wednesday have a light run, and then probably assess everything on Thursday. And if someone hasn't travelled well, then potentially you do factor that in for the team that you pick on Friday, and then there's a short turnaround to Sunday. So we've got a few management issues when we get back on the ground there, but that's not uncommon with the way the schedule is these days.
Yourself, you've obviously got the commitment at the IPL. Is there going to be a clash for you with these upcoming New Zealand series? Are you going to be unavailable for some of the New Zealand games?
Yeah, I'll be unavailable for some of them, so I'll have IPL commitments, and that'll be the same when it comes to the Zimbabwe tour as well, in the 100. So that's all been mapped out well in advance. Those jobs were already pre-existing, so Cricket Australia have kindly sort of worked around that, and I've worked with Ben Oliver and Justin on when I need to be there, and clearly you want to be there all the time, but that's impossible when you've got some other commitments.
So you miss both the ODIs and T20s?
ODIs and T20s,
Was I don't know, are your deals with those two franchises, are they multi-year, or are they just for this year?
With the 100, it's for 1 year. So all the deals within the 100 players and coaches is 1 year, and then IPL, is multi-year deal.
Okay, so you've got an understanding with CA going forward that might happen again. You've got flexibility on that front. Yeah,
it was all sort of unveiled when we got to sort of the negotiation table. So they're aware of my existing contracts and requirements.
And this is a bigger ground, similar like your grounds. Would it be advantage to you guys? You like to play the big ground, twos and the runs in between?
Yeah, in theory, potentially. I think Par was quite big as well, so it played big with the wind the way it was, and I think South Africa probably played that bigger surface better. I mean, they had a lot more twos in their game, rotated probably a little bit better than we did through the middle overs. So, I mean, we'd like to think that, it would suit us, but it's one thing talking about it, the next thing's executing it, and unfortunately in Par we didn't execute it, so we get another opportunity, as you said, on a fairly sizeable playing surface.
Darcy Short, batting at 7. He's obviously probably got over the top of Matt Wade and maybe Ashton for that spot. What was it about Darcy, I suppose, that you really wanted to have a look at him there?
Yeah, I think looking back at the Indian series, we went with a very aggressive side with 5 out-and-out bowlers, Ashton Agar batting at 7, and then they've just lent towards probably a bit of extra batting depth, which has lent itself to Darcy. Also, he's got the left arm leg spin as well, so that's just a different skill set there. I think Mitch Marsh coming back into the side also helps that. So you've got Mitch, Darcy and Marnus to get through 10 overs as well, whereas the side that we had in India didn't have any clear all-rounder in the top 6. So I think, the way we're structured up here with Mitch Marsh being in the side has allowed us to be able to play Darcy. And look, he's batted, I think he batted 6 or 7 in a game in England. I think it might have been his last one-day international before his return in Pal. So he's been there before, he's done it a little bit at state level as well. We're clearly looking for people to put their hands up in the middle order and really unlock what the finishing sort of 2 or 3 batters look like for us in our batting lineup. And that's no real secret, and it's probably been exposed a little bit in T20 as well with some shifting personnel there. So he gets his opportunity. I'm sure that he'll get another opportunity here, and I dare say he'll get some real good opportunities when he gets back home as well.
Do you cop a fine for missing the bus? Or?
No, I was actually, we had a 1:30 team meeting, and then I stayed behind because it's an optional session today to talk to the fast bowlers, and then it's probably indicative of where an assistant coach sits in the pecking order that no one noticed that he wasn't on the bus talking to his quicks left behind. So that's the way it goes, but all good. I'll cop a fine, don't worry about that. My fault.